Hey man, this video is going to be a stock analysis of Cognex, ticker symbol CGNX. Stick around. So I know what you're asking, what does Cognex do? Because you've never heard of them before. Cognex is a provider of machine vision that gives sight to the blind, in the machine world at least. So their products, including the Cognex, Insight, VisionPro, and Dataman brands, are going to be used in all types of manufacturing and distribution. And I think with machines being able to see, if they were able to watch this video right now, they'd probably want to go ahead and give me the thumbs up and subscribe.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it! Make your dreams come true!
So what is machine vision? According to the Automated Imaging Association, machine vision encompasses all industrial and non-industrial applications in which a combination of hardware and software provide operational guidance to devices in the execution of their functions based on the capture and processing of images. So to put that into layman's terms, machines make decisions based on the images they take. There are 4 categories of machine vision application, which can be remembered by the acronym GIGI, which are guidance, identification, gauging, and inspection. Guidance can be used to locate or position an item. Identification would be reading barcodes or analyzing an item's physical appearance. Gauging would be using machine vision to measure items, and inspection would be like a pass-fail system on an assembly line, inspecting defects. And there are different types of systems set up for different applications. There's a 1D system which analyzes things one line at a time, sort of like a printer. This is used to detect things in a continuous line like paper, metals, or plastics. There's a 2D system which could either use an area scan camera to capture a 2D snapshot, or could use a line scan camera with a light set at a 90-degree angle, which builds a 2D image one line at a time. Then there are 3D systems which could use either multiple cameras and triangulation to help the machine understand the position of something in a 3D space. Or you could use a single camera and a reflected laser that detect various heights, but the object or the camera need to be moved to scan the object, sort of like with a 1D scanner. There are also several other components to machine vision. If you're interested in photography, you'll know that lighting is a huge consideration, and there are a multitude of ways to light a particular object. Backlighting, structured light, dark field illumination, and so forth. It's a pretty big topic, but incredibly interesting for the right audience. Other components would be lenses and image sensors, as well as vision processing and communications. I think a lot of us take this for granted, but without machine vision, we can't have RoboCop. And isn't that what we're working towards in 2020?
뼈 없는 닭튀김 요건 모를 거야?
뼈 없는 닭튀김
롯데햄 프라이드 치킨.
롯데햄 냉동식품.
I totally think we're headed towards RoboCop. But although similar, industrial computer vision is very different than military or academic computer vision. Because industrial machine vision needs to be low cost, durable, not sensitive to things like heat, while still being very reliable. Military applications for machine vision are going to have way different requirements and probably be far more expensive. And that will probably be the branch that leads to a RoboCop type scenario. Machine vision is constantly becoming more necessary. The need for speed and accuracy are 2 vital reasons why machine vision is so important. Similarly, the decreasing size of items in production makes it a requirement. Machine vision today is used in the manufacturing of medical devices and pharmaceuticals. Just think of the potential for these companies to be held liable for something going wrong. They need things to be as close to perfection as possible, and you need to go beyond the levels of human sight for that. Same thing with food and beverage companies. You need it pumped out quickly, and there can't be problems with the product. Humans are going to consume that stuff. And then you get to electronics and semiconductors. These items are so small, is it even possible for them to be produced without machine vision? Just as a side note, the founder of Cognex, who we'll meet in a few minutes, won a Semi Award back in 2005 for his contributions to the semiconductor industry. And this brings us to the automotive industry and mobile devices like phones, tablets, and watches. Is anything being made that doesn't require machine vision? I think it benefits just about everything that is produced by humankind. Before we move on, I want to say that Cognex has consistently interesting annual reports. Check it out if you get the chance. I'll leave a link in the description. One had a Back to the Future theme. Another was Sherlock Holmes and the Case of the Disappearing Defects. They're delightful. I believe it's worth having a look. So what does Cognex sell exactly? Cognex sells a range of both 2D and 3D vision products able to meet most price and performance requirements. They also offer vision software, including vision tools, which contains all the algorithms required for things like edge detection, inspection, pattern matching, and color analysis. There's deep learning for even more challenging and complex inspection applications. And finally, barcode readers. These are the things most of us have seen before. Cognex's Dataman series have industry-leading read rates. If you've ever been at a store and the reader won't work, the employee needs to punch in the number manually. That sort of thing slows down production. They need to get a Dataman. Robert Willett is the president and CEO and often accompanies Mr. Shillman on the illustrated covers of the annual report. He's been with Cognex since '08. Dr. Robert J. Shillman, a lecturer in human visual perception and a faculty member at MIT, founded Cognex with two MIT graduate students in 1981. They formed the name from the phrase cognition experts, and in 1989, Cognex was listed on the NASDAQ. Shillman is obviously an incredibly smart guy. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Northeastern University and a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, as well as a PhD from MIT. And he's published more than 20 technical papers. Shillman donates to many causes which display an overall love for his country and a desire to see freedom prosper. Since 2006, his annual salary and bonus at Cognex have both been donated each year to charity. The more I find out about this guy, the more I like him. I wouldn't be surprised if he puts on a suit at night and fights crime. He's one of those people that are too good to be true. What about acquisitions? In an interview back in '07 with visiononline.org, Shillman said that his criteria regarding acquisitions is that a company must be machine vision and only machine vision based, must be small so that operations can be easily integrated into Cognex, must have a culture similar to Cognex so that institutionally it can be easily integrated, must have revenue from selling products, and must be able to become profitable within 2 years. I think all of those are great requirements regarding acquisitions. Cognex invests heavily in research, development, and engineering and employs 563 people in those areas. That's just a necessity in this type of business. They're constantly making their products easier to use and more affordable. But they also try to address the most challenging of visual applications. And aside from research and development, those investments will come in the form of acquisitions. One of those types of acquisitions is the Korean-based Sualab company, which they acquired in late 2019 for $195 million, which Cognex believes will help them increase their deep learning capabilities. Deep learning is when a network is capable of learning unsupervised from data that is unstructured. So what about financials? Cognex has been paying a dividend for 17 years straight. If you're a dividend investor, that might be of some interest to you. They've made it through the Great Recession without eliminating their dividend. But their dividend yield is so small, it's less than 1%. I couldn't see anyone getting all that excited about it. And I personally don't really care much about dividends. So where does their revenue come from? In 2018, 15% of their revenue came directly from Apple. And 20% of their revenue came indirectly from Apple. That's the power of Apple. Sadly, since then, Apple has reduced its purchases. And although revenue has largely been increasing year over year, 2019 saw a decrease in revenue at Cognex. In 2019, 34% of revenue came from the United States, 31% came from Europe, 16% came from China, and 5% came from Japan. Research, development, and engineering has consistently been about half of their net income. So their 2019 net income was $203 million and their RD&E was $119 million. And I'm not sure if that's just a coincidence or what, but it seems to be that way all the way back to 2010. Net margins, which is a figure I like to pay attention to, have been 20% as of June 2020. That's pretty reasonable for Cognex, although they've been as high as 40% back in 2015, 2016. But 20% is still really good. Cognex doesn't carry much of any long-term debt. As of June 2020, they had $896 million in cash on hand and investments, which is about 4 to 4.5 years income. That's great to see should a good acquisition become available or should they need to weather a crisis. Looking at their price, it's not a bargain. It's about $67 a share right now, and you could have bought it in the high 30s back in March. Their price to earnings ratio, which is currently 81, that's high for them. In this case, their price has gone up while their earnings have gone down, which is not a particularly favorable set of circumstances for the investor. What are some of the risks Cognex may come up against? I would have to think that manufacturing is going to be tied to the state of the economy. So any problems with the economy are going to be reflected in Cognex's financials. If you're a long-term investor, this one factor probably shouldn't be too big of an issue. It completely depends on your time frame. I, for instance, have a very long time horizon, so this isn't going to bother me a whole lot. The money I'm investing, I don't need anytime soon. Competition is going to be a risk, and in this particular case, the R&D departments of Cognex's customers are going to be competing with Cognex. One potentially obvious future, if not current competitor, would be Apple, at least as far as Apple's own products go. That said, I think Cognex is pretty far ahead of any competition in this field. Cognex owns 686 patents and has another 514 pending worldwide. So any infringement or unlawful use of those patents could affect their business. And that's a big deal currently with things of this nature being stolen specifically by China, but there are often court cases about this type of thing just in general. Another risk would be their international business. A lot of their business is overseas, and there's been a push, including the use of tariffs, by the Trump administration to bring manufacturing back to the good old US of A. Currently, much of Cognex's manufacturing is done in Indonesia. What do I think about all this? Despite things looking a little grim in the near future, I think there's not going to be a lot of manufacturing done on planet Earth without machine vision. People will still want automobiles, pharmaceuticals, soda pop, and computers. And they'll want more of that stuff when everyone's back to work. As 5G picks up and the automotive industry comes back to life, along with the economy in general, I think all these companies will need the products that Cognex is making. And while things are slowing down, it isn't due to some inherent problem at Cognex, at least that I can see. It has more to do with cyclical industries and a global crisis. The price isn't great right now. I would have expected their price to be a little lower than it is. But the market seems to believe in them, and I too think the company is great. Personally, I'll be waiting for the company to go on sale before picking up any shares, but I'm saying that a lot lately. This is a great company, just wait for it to go on sale. There's no rush. Hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye! If you like what you saw, give me the thumbs up and subscribe. And don't forget what I told you.